Hi beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are doing fantastic wherever you are in the world. Recently, everywhere you turn and tune into, everything is all about GYPSY Rose Blanchard. Now, as per usual, I'm going to get into how Without a Crystal Ball claims to be so close to this family and expects everyone to treat GYPSY like a queen, and is working very hard to change the whole storyline, and now villainizing Nick Godejohn and putting all the blame on him and making GYPSY a victim of him. Mind you, after her being sympathetic to him when learning about the story 4 years ago. So let's get into it and talk about this, on how her feelings have changed from 4 years ago when she was learning about the story to now that GYPSY is free and out in the real world. So let's get into it, but before that, my usual disclaimer. Please do not take what I say as fact. Feel free to do your own research and come to your own conclusions. And also, this is by no means me hating on GYPSY. She is a victim of a mum, period. I did a video where I discussed how Without a Crystal Ball said that she is so close to this family and has been for 4.5 years, and that she is going to correct all misinformation about GYPSY Rose, and we'll leave that link in the description if you want to go and watch that video. So she left this comment under one of GYPSY Rose's posts on Instagram. The hateful comments on this post are so foul. GYPSY has never one time said that she didn't murder her mum. In fact, she admits to the killing. Read her book, watch her new series. You will see that this woman is not a manipulative, vindictive person. She did not ask for any of this attention. The fact that people so easily buy into the narratives from The Act or other shows that Nick was somehow incapable of making his own choices is so unnerving. I would encourage everyone to watch the coverage of Nick's trial. Watch GYPSY's testimony. Watch the testimony of the text messages. Listen to police and prosecutors discuss the master-slave contract that Nick made GYPSY sign. Learn about his previous arrest for public masturbation in a parking lot in front of children. Learn about Nick's stepfather being an SO. Nick had a million choices and knew this was wrong and did it because he wanted to and would do it again. GYPSY is remorseful to this day and Nick is not. I hate the way so many spin this as Nick was naive. Nick was a problem waiting to happen. But once again, Kaylee Joy, remember when you first got into the story, when you were trying to find out details about the story? Let's take a look again on how you felt and how sympathetic you were to Nick Godejohn at the beginning when you were learning about the story.
Well, she murdered her mom.
Well, I think they played up on Nick's autism and made him look way more innocent than he is.
He is absolutely developmentally delayed and should not be in prison.
Not as much as people think.
Not as much as people think.
That is really, the specialists have all contradicted themselves. When you read emails that he does, he is intelligent.
But that doesn't, you can be intelligent and autistic.
No, autistic, absolutely. No, not the same, no.
But he's not developmentally slow in any means, no.
But autism is considered a developmental disability.
It's considered a neurological disability.
No, it affects all aspects of development. My son is autistic, so.
Okay, do you believe that your son could be manipulated into murdering somebody?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Why? And where is your son at on the spectrum?
He's high functioning.
Wow, Kaylee Joy, knowing then that Nick was autistic, you were sympathetic, understanding, and sounded like you were defending Nick. Now that GYPSY is out and she has not an ounce of sympathy for him, it's all on Nick. And as you're going to hear as I go on in this video, how she continues to villainize Nick. Then she posts, one of the biggest criticisms of GYPSY Blanchard by Fancy Pants is that she has not received any mental health therapy or help for the trauma of her abuse. Now, in reference to Fancy Pants, she's actually having a back and forth and trying to villainize this person that actually worked with GYPSY's family for years and actually studying this case. While in prison, GYPSY did not qualify for one-on-one therapy. Prisons must determine the need an inmate has for therapy on a case-by-case basis. GYPSY's mental health was not severe enough for any one-on-one help. That seems very, very troubling to know after knowing all the trauma and abuse that GYPSY went through. That's weird. During her incarceration, she spent her time completing her GED and participating in group classes to help her heal. Now, as a part of her parole, Gypsy will be required to complete an outpatient mental health program to work through her trauma and process the abuse. The program will include psychotherapy. Also, she must maintain employment. Gypsy is also barred from having any contact with Nick Godejohn while on parole. She will not be allowed to contact him directly or indirectly. She revealed that she overcame an addiction to opioids while in prison. She has been sober for 4 years with a clear head and good support system. Gypsy has a plan to take care of herself and heal. Then, as per usual, Katie Joy actually inserts herself to make herself part of the story, to which she posts. My outrage about what Dee Dee Blanchard did to Gypsy as a mom with a medically fragile child. I have been accused of Munchausen by proxy by other moms and stalkers online because of cases like Dee Dee Blanchard. I have never once medically abused my son. I would give up my life and die for my son to be cured of his illnesses. I cannot fake anything that he was born with. But because of women like Dee Dee, I am judged and abused through CPS. One time Dee Dee was reported to CPS for Munchausen's. 7 times I have been reported since her story became national news, all unfounded, and even our nurses and doctors got involved to prove it was a lie. I need to speak up for mothers like me. Please listen to me. Coincidentally now, people need to listen to you because you want to speak up for mothers like you to ride off the coattails of Gypsy Rose, to get the clout, the attention. Get out of here, Katie Joy. Then she goes ahead and she posts. In tonight's installment of Gypsy Rose Blanchard's docuseries, Gypsy walked producers through a relationship with Nick Godejohn and her crime. Here are a few details. Nicholas's ex-girlfriend reached out to Gypsy early on in their relationship and warned her that Nick was violent, controlling, and possessive. Gypsy didn't believe the ex-girlfriend. Gypsy says Nick introduced her to his dark personalities and thoughts, including his fantasies of murdering and raping people. Nick and Gypsy signed a contract making her a slave. Nick had her make videos for him and forced her to say the same thing to him every time they spoke. If she didn't do what he said, she says he became verbally abusive. Gypsy alleged that Nick made a disturbing confession to her that resulted in them breaking up. She said Nick wanted to have children with her. And when their future daughter turned 13, Nick wanted to rape their daughter and take her virginity. Gypsy said during this time she became addicted to opioids prescribed to her after she had her salivary glands removed. Her addiction kept her out of reality and detached from her feelings. Gypsy tried to run away twice and her mom chained her to the bed for 2 weeks with handcuffs and a dog leash. Nick controlled what she wore, ate, and watched while they were on the run. She asked Nick to kill her mom, but believes his fantasies to kill made him want to kill her mom. She thinks a normal person would have contacted authorities, but Nick was a disturbed person. Nick walked into the house and yelled, "That bee is dead," and Gypsy said he terrified her. She made a post on Facebook with what he said, and days later, because she was remorseful and feared her life with Nick. That's all for now. Thoughts? I'll give you my thoughts because let's go back to the interview that she did with Dr. Phil back then, when all this unraveled. Because you see, what I'm noticing about Gypsy is the stories keep changing. Stories keep getting conflicted. So let's go to that interview with Dr. Phil.
Then you guys communicate for about a year?
Our relationship was about almost 3 years.
How much of it was just talking back and forth on the computer?
99% of it. He thought that he was a 500-year-old vampire named Victor.
A 500-year-old vampire named Victor. What'd you think about that?
I was like, oh, okay. I played along, I guess.
There was pretty sexual content to your going back and forth on the internet, right?
Yes, sir.
He was erotic role-playing and BDSM. Mm-hmm. And you had alter egos as well, right?
I made alter egos to fit his.
Okay, like tell me about Little Kitty.
Little Kitty was kind of a little girl. I kind of based her looks off of anime cartoons.
You said it was based on his
personalities.
And which one did that one go with?
That went with his little boy personality.
And then there was Candy.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
Candy was more of the vixen, more risque.
And that went with what?
That went with his, that personality that's more sexual.
And what about Ruby?
Ruby was for Victor.
Ruby was for the vampire?
Mm-hmm.
So Ruby was evil?
Ruby was a werewolf, and she was the evil one.
Okay. So that goes on for quite some time, right?
Mm-hmm.
How was he dressed?
I had bought him some nice clothes to wear and sent it to him. I just wanted him to look nice, so hopefully he can impress my mother.
After this meeting at the movies, did you ask him to kill your mother?
Yes. We had thought of different ideas. We called it Plan B. I was getting desperate, and we bounced around that idea.
But did you ask him, quote, will you kill my mother for me?
I probably did, yes, sir.
Now, you had some text exchanges that seemed to me that this Plan B was pretty much a collaborative process. On June 2nd, you send a text that says, I'm 100% in, hun. I'm ready, truly. He says, why you say that, baby? You say, because I've finally allowed myself to accept you're my everything. I will go with you and live our dream. So then on the 9th, you say, hun, does he require just the gloves and knife? When you're saying he to Nick, you're referring to his alter ego, Victor, right?
Yes, sir.
And Nick says, hun, that side of me expects duct tape too, to muffle her. You say, okay, baby, we have that. I'll pre-cut it. At 7:25, Nick says, dear, I should ask you this before he has to. Is your mom a light or deep sleeper? You say, light, hun. Okay, dear. Now he's excited. The gonna go down tonight, Ruby said. That's your alter ego, your evil side. And he says, well, how does Ruby feel about it? She keeps me numb in order to cope and survive. We now fast forward to that night, 8:36 p.m. You text, I left the gloves outside the front door and the screen door is squeaky. So try to open it just enough to get in and close it gentle. I'll hand him the knife and the duct tape inside, darling. It's pre-cut and ready. At that point, you knew this was happening, right?
I just went through the motions. It didn't sink in until it was actually happening.
He says, baby, there's no other option. He's going to finish her no matter what. That is how he is. And you say, okay, darling, he is brave. I respect and admire that, smiley face. But after we comfort each other, after we do that, sweetheart, I'll hold you like the baby girl of mine that you are. Tell me in your own words what happened that night.
I talked to Nick. He had me talk to Victor, who initially was the one that was going to do the murder. And he was like, ask Victor, please. And I said, Victor, will you please come kill my mother for me? Because I can't do it myself.
Was this on the phone or was this over text?
This was over the computer.
Okay, so you're emailing back and forth, texting, messaging, whatever?
Yes, sir.
You say, we're going to do this. We're not ever going to bring it up again. Then at 9:08 p.m. on the 10th, you say she's taking her sleep aid. Okay, baby, I'm calculating the money for the ride. You say, once you're inside the house, we stay silent, not even a whisper until after I open that bathroom door. And he says, never underestimate his will to kill.
He took his bus, Greyhound bus, from Wisconsin to Missouri. He stayed at the local hotel. I texted him when my mother went to sleep. I let him in the door. There were gloves waiting for him, plastic gloves, by the door.
You put them there?
I put them there. He came in, and he was wearing a hoodie and dark clothing and a scary t-shirt that had evil clowns on it. And I handed him the knife, and he said, get your ass in the bathroom now.
Take me through the moment you opened the door.
I opened the door, and I was completely naked, but I was wearing a wig because my head was shaved. I let him in, and he was holding the knife in his hand, and his finger was bleeding. And he said, she tried to fight me off, but I was too strong for her. Clean up my finger. And so I knew that there was bandages in the closet. So I got bandages, cleaned off his finger. Then he commanded me to clean up blood spots on the carpet that led from her bedroom to the kitchen, where he had walked to get a paper towel to cover up his finger.
What happened then? He
tells me to grab a suitcase. I find a suitcase. And he starts going through my things in my closet, picking out clothes to pack. Then he calls the cab, and we leave the house. We were stupid, and we can't say, oh, I wish we would have planned it out better or whatever. I just wish we wouldn't have done anything to begin with. I wish he would have just said, I will help you get out of your situation, but by means of contacting the police.
Where did you go?
To the hotel that he was staying at.
Well, comment on this for me. This is a video, part of one was taken in the hotel.
Hi, honey. I'm feeling it. He's eating a brownie.
That's less than 24 hours after your mother has been stabbed to death.
I wasn't myself. I had been taking narcotics, such as Xanax and Vicodin. I was high, very high.
He was a different persona now?
Yes, he was. He was the loving boyfriend that is gonna make all my dreams come true.
How do you feel about him now?
I can't stand him. Because I went from one abusive person to another. I wish he would have been more responsible. He was the first person I ever told that I could walk. And yet I asked him a question. I asked him to kill my mother, but I didn't hold a gun to his head and make him do it. He seemed more happy to do it than anything. And that's why I can't stand him, is because he knew. I think he knew that he could easily get me out of that situation by calling the police, being responsible.
So y'all pull this off, you get away with this for like 4 days before you're in custody.
Yes, sir.
And then you're in an interrogation room.
Your mom's dead, okay? Now, what I want to ask you is, your mom's passed away, okay? And she's deceased, all right? Now, what I want to ask you, did you have involvement in this? Okay. Just, hang on, listen to me for just a second, okay? What happened with your mom that night?
You say all you did was to ask him a question, but in the 3 days prior to the murder, you had some text exchanges that seemed to me that this plan B was pretty much a collaborative process.
I just wish I could go back and walk in front of somebody, and none of this would have had to happen.
You said he could have said no, you could have walked out that front door. You called a cab after you hacked her to death, you could have got to call that cab and left. You could have gone to a women's shelter. What do you think should happen to Nick?
I think that he should he should spend the rest of his life in prison.
Do you think he exploited you?
I think he did. I think he used me to have his own means. He was a lonely person, not a lot of friends. Girls would never look at him, so I was the only one that would never tell him no. I would always agree to everything he said and do it with a smile. And I think he saw that in me from living with my mother. Like, I had that submissive, low self-esteem, codependent personality that I think he could prey on that, and he used me.
I know that these are just clips from a whole video from Dr. Phil. I will try and upload the video in its entirety so you guys can see the whole interview. But I just wanted to play these to show you that without a crystal ball is not telling you the whole story. GYPSY knows who Nick was. They both acted together, and she knew she was using him, in my opinion, and when they got caught, she immediately threw him under the bus. Nobody wanted to fight for Nick because GYPSY was the one that was held prisoner by her mom all her life. As Nick was just left out to dry. He is mentally not well. He loved her and wanted to be with her, and still to this day. This is what also just rubs me the wrong way, was when GYPSY was asked in an interview about Nick. This is what she said.
Your former boyfriend, Nick Godejohn, is serving a life sentence. Is it fair that he is incarcerated for life for killing your mom and you're out?
Well, I'm sure that we both have a lot of regrets. All I can really say is that I did my time. He's doing his time for his part. And I wish him well on his journey.
What journey does he have? He's at his destination with no life, still dealing with whatever's going on with him, still in prison without any help for his mental health issues. While Gypsy is living her best life, and in my opinion, at his expense.
Can't bring me down. I'm on a high right now. I'm living my best life, and y'all can't take that from me.
And the D is
fire.
I will leave it at that. Part 2 will be out shortly, showing you how Without a Crystal Ball, aka Katie Joy, is continuing to praise Gypsy as a queen and portraying Nick as the villain and manipulator. Once again, no hate to Gypsy Rose. She is a victim of her mum, and for all those years she was tortured. It is horrific. I can't even imagine. And the only reason Katie Joy is on this path is for clout from Gypsy Rose. So with all that said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Please be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And don't forget, make good memories. Bye, guys.